What is going on, everybody? Wally back with another video, and in today's video we're going to be talking about the pulse rifle breakdown in the perk rolls, types of pulse rifles, everything, all the good stuff that I'm going to give you from my personal experience. But before we get into that, I want to say thank you guys very much. We recently hit 80K. I did this audio take recently once over, and it lasted for like 20 minutes. So I just want to say thank you guys very much. I don't know why you guys keep subscribing to this channel. I keep trying to tell people all the time that I'm not a YouTuber. I don't see myself as one. I don't apply myself the same way. But you guys keep subbing, so I guess I'm doing something right. I'm not sure what that is, but you guys are awesome, and thank you. So let's hop into the video. So let's talk about the breakdown. So I always break down the rate of fire pulse rifles because that usually determines impact in PvP. And this is the best way to do it, at least from my experience. So you have your 77s, which is a 24 impact on the headshot. You have your 73s, which is 27. You have your 66s, which is a 31. And you have your 59s, which is a 38. Now, this all sounds really nice. I wish I could build you a nice graphic to sort of visualize it a little bit better. But again, I'm going to walk you through everything here and give you a pretty good idea of how these pulse rifles operate in their own little groups. So again, the best rolls, this is largely subjective because the word best is hard to determine. Everyone has their favorite setups, and what works best for me may not fit your style. Rolls are very much like religion. We all are talking about kind of the same thing, yet everyone is telling you that their version is the best. So I'm going to say fuck that. Roll whatever you want, but use my guide as a guide. You don't like my best rolls, quote unquote, you have the free will to tell me to fly a kite and roll your grave robber, skip rounds, rangefinder pulse, if that's your prerogative. With the disclaimer out of the way, which is, more like, please don't leave mean comments in the comment section because I'm sensitive, out of the way, let's hop into the pulse rifles, the various setups for those pulse rifles. Starting with the 77 rate of fire pulse rifles. And these are my favorite ones in the game, and I want to say they're kind of the least used, and for a pretty good reason. The fast rate of fire, you can see yourself running through clips and ammo really fast, and most pulse rifles of this caliber maintain roughly 10 bursts, which is enough to get about 3 kills if all bursts are headshots before reloading. So you have about 9 bursts, 1 extra if you hit every single shot on a head, which generally does not happen. Now, the fast rate of fire on these pulse rifles means that you have the ability to dish out damage in a pretty quick manner, but you will not be dropping players as fast as some of the legendary or exotic hand cannons out there, so don't keep that in mind. The general time to kill is somewhere between 1.5 to 2.5 seconds in the best case scenario. Not all the time. This is the best case scenario, something like this. So what do you roll on these? And since rate of fire is sort of determined how fast you go through your clip, I'm going to give you a few solutions that I personally don't normally go with, but have found some fondness in. So for your 77 front rolls, you're thinking more like Outlaw, maybe Feeding Frenzy, and they can work pretty well here. Potentially even Spray and Play, but for me, I try never to go through a full clip. But with Braced Frame as your middle roll, which is increased stability, reduced mag size, it does make more sense to keep Spray and Play. Rodeo and Hipfire can also be useful here, but that's more or less depending on your play style. Now, before we go all in and quote the recent info on Rodeo, I will say that there's a difference when you stack it with stability perks, but it's not enough of a difference solo, so keep that in mind. For your 77 middle rolls, and this is always my opinion, but I'm always going to say stability in PvP is the #1, and even more so on higher rate of fire type pulse rifles. You absolutely need every single shot to hit the head, and recoil begins at the first bullet of the burst. So your second and third shots of that first burst can potentially miss their mark with low stability rules, something to keep in mind. Handlight stock is the #1 GG here. Brace frame is a secondary, you can go with it, but it will take the standard clip size of about 30 to 24 or remove 2 bursts. So the way you look at it is pretty simple. With Brace Frame, you lose the ability to kill 3 players in a single magazine before a reload. A slow reload, or even a reload in general, can change the pacing of combat. The more room you have for error or missed shots, the lower the learning curve on weapons like this. 77 back rolls. Now, this is pretty tough simply because Glass Half Full and Headseeker do not change the outcome of many fights. Headseeker takes the standard 24 damage headshot to a 26, meaning that the 1 burst to a head, assuming that every single burst hits, is 78. 78 times 3 is 234. Now, the standard damage value is 72 per burst, depending on all 3 shots hitting the head. 72 times 3 is 216, meaning you still 3 burst your opponents either way. There is no difference. You'll never be able to see that difference with the 77 rate of fire pulse rifles. With that stated though, rolling head seeker or glass half full, while seemingly useful, may not be as effective as running, say, reactive reload or counterbalance. Some will insert rangefinder here, but personally the maps are not large enough in Destiny to make rangefinder relevant, at least for me. And this mainly only applies to the standard PvP playlist, not combined arms. 73 rate of fire pulse rifles. Now this one's going to be super short because you can only re-roll one of the 73 rate of fire pulse rifles right now, and that's the FWC's Conduit. Now I will say that I really like the 73 rate of fire pulse rifles. It feels perfect. So if you still have the time on target or the Aegis of the Kel, try to pick them up in PvP. If you're an FWC guy like me, you have the extra marks, go ahead, pick it up, try to spend it on the Conduit. I will warn you, however, it comes with an 18 magazine size, and which is pretty poop. That's on standard. So that's only about 6 bursts, which means it only hits for 27 to the head, and it's still a 3-burst kill, meaning that you can only get 2 kills here, technically, if every single shot hits your opponents. So what I do is I rolled out Outlaw, Handlaid Stock, and Head Seeker. Now I know you guys are saying like, oh, Head Seeker doesn't really help that much. It makes a bit of a difference. It takes it 27 to 30. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. So the Head Seeker, Outlaw perk size seems to really stack with each other. You're already going for headshots anyway. Most of your precision kills should be headshots. You know, they're called precision kills for a reason. It does really help you. So when you take a low magazine size and you give it 150% reload on top of a damage bonus with Head Seeker, you're going to be seeing that the reload and the low clip size really do not matter too much. It actually kind of helps you in your favor. You may go with counterbalance or reactive reload again to make sense of that lower clip size. It's up to you, the player. You're going to have to figure that one out for yourself. Some people may say go with appended magazine. You can do that on this one, but you'd need like a rodeo front roll combined with counterbalance, or you definitely need counterbalance at the end to make up for the lack of stability you're not going to have when you roll into the middle roll of appended magazine. Keep it in mind. Good luck trying to figure that one out. It's up to you guys. The 66 and 59 rate of fire rules. So these pulse rifles sort of fall into the same category for me, and here's why. They operate with the same mentality in PvP. If you miss the initial or second burst, you will generally lose that gunfight with your opponent, assuming that they're somewhat skilled. This is a little bit interesting because the 66 offers you a bit more breathing room than the 59s, but not too much. So these rifles are technically in that quote-unquote skilled category, since you need to be able to place your shots, but personally, skill and learning curve are sometimes very subjective. I personally don't think 2-bursting people with super accurate weapons like the Messenger or a good rolled hopscotch takes skill, but that's just my opinions. Please don't blast me in the comments about how much skill you think they are. Again, subjective here, all opinion based. I don't know anything more than you do. My saltiness aside, let's get into it in those front rolls. So Feeding Frenzy, Outlaw, and Rodeo, but only Rodeo when you combine it with another stability perk would be my recommendations. But again, this also depends on stock reload speed and mag size. Handlaid Stock for the mid-roll is the #1. The more stability, the more accurate you are, and the more likely you are to crush a 2 to 3 burst headshot. You could also drop in a braced frame roll if you aren't worried about losing mag size. But again, ideally, you want as many shots as possible before a reload. Here's something contradictory though. Due to the slow rate of fire though, missing shots often leads to death, regardless of how many shots you have in reserve. So it may be counterintuitive to place ammo mag size above anything else. So running brace frame may make sense. If you're a low-key hard scoper or corner pyre, or just a dude who ADSs the whole damn time, single point sling is also an awesome perk, but again, very secondary. Back rolls. Head Seeker, Glass Half Full, and Counterbalance are the one I'd recommend from my experience. Generally, you're hitting anywhere from 31 to 38 on standard headshots, but when you start hitting for 41s, that's about 123 damage in a burst, meaning that team shotting with these bad boys is pretty much a super GG or a frustration, again, depending on what side you're on. May not make a difference to you, but if you only put, say, one burst of 123 into someone, a follow-up assist from a teammate is that much easier. All in all, pulse rifles are weapons that many would consider take more skill, but honestly, I've spent a lot of time with them, and once you kind of get the hang of the playstyle and a feel for how the weapons operate, you'll see that skill is largely a fictitious term thrown around by shweddies and randoms alike. My opinion is in no way superior to anyone else's out there, so that's just like the scout rifle video. Don't treat them like that. This is from my experience playing the game, and I'm just an average potato like anyone else. I'd like to hear what you all run on your pulse rifles and any setups you'd recommend for me to try out in the future. I love you guys for the continued support, even though I'm a huge slacker and release one video every month and maybe a month and a week plus. With that in mind, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Smash that like button because I need the EP validation. Follow my Instagram. Download my mixtape on Napster. Hit me up on Twitter for free memes that I didn't create but arbitrarily pass off as my own content because I'm neither original nor edgy. Have a great day, and I will see you all later. Peace.